Now, when it comes to providing reporting functionalities to the end users, there are a number of challenges that you run into. And I want to talk about these here and list them, and then we're going to answer these as we go through the course. And so we'll kind of refer back to some of these. First of all is data access itself. Now, in a perfect world, all of our data is in SQL Server, and it's all in the latest version, and there's no hassles, and it's all very clean and pretty. Unfortunately, you may have noticed that hasn't exactly evolved that way at your company. You have a number of different data sources, and these could be many years old. They could involve some pretty wild layouts of the data, and so you're going to have to first of all get all your data together. Next is data security. To connect to the resource and get the data, you've got to be able to log in and pass passwords around and so forth. That becomes a security concern that we have to deal with. And then the next one's a big one. That's the database load. If 200 people suddenly start pulling these reports from your database, well, that's going to put a load, because again, in classes a lot of times, you'll go to these little classes about reporting, and they'll select a few little things from a couple of tables. However, you get out there in the real world, and it's like a 12-table join with all kind of grouping and subgrouping going on, and this stuff really starts to put a load on your database. And so the ability to do things like use stored procedures and so forth to pull these things gets to be pretty huge. The next thing is programmability. How do we provide interactivity with the end user on these reports? Because they want to do conditional reporting. First of all, let's start off with conditional reporting. We'll kind of go backwards here. They want to pull a report based on a date, based on a certain salesperson, a certain region, a zip code, an area code, all this stuff, right? So they only want to see really subsets of the data oftentimes. Then interactivity. Once the report is up, am I stuck with it in that form? How many times have you been to meetings and deals where people put a report on the table and said, well, you can't see it here, but this includes in these numbers, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't it be cool if you could show this on a screen and click on it and show those numbers behind there and provide interactivity that way? So this is another problem that you get into in a challenge. Next is just pure functionality. And these are such things as drill down or to see summaries. It's one thing to see all the details, but the big question is, for a lot of especially management people, is, well, how am I doing quarterly? Or how am I doing annually? Or this year over last year? So the ability to provide that sort of functionality, and this also kind of overlays with that interactivity issues. And if you've been ever providing reports to people, you have heard these questions, and it was troublesome to try to come up with a solution. Modification and maintenance. How do we modify these reports as people ask for those things constantly? And how do we provide maintenance on these things in a secure way? Security, we've already talked about that. We're trying to connect into databases that have sensitive data, and we're trying to limit who can access this. We'll talk about that in some other places, but it's a serious challenge here. And then probably the biggest challenge for the end user is delivery. How do I get this report, and what format can I get it in? Can I only get it in some weird format that shows up on my screen as proprietary and I can't change it or print it very well or anything? So they want to be able to see them. And then there's another issue about delivery that is vital and that is really addictive, and it's a solution that comes through reporting services, and that is scheduling. If management comes in every morning and they need to see the sales figures for the Eastern Division as of close of business day at 5 o'clock yesterday, why should they have to go in and log in and click this and click that and click this to get a report? Why can't we just schedule a report and have it ready for them, email it to them? These are other challenges, and that is, when can I get this thing? How do I know when it's ready? Let's see, where's my notes? How do I log in and get this thing? Okay, and then that generates trouble reports, right? I can't log in, blah, blah, all that stuff. So these are the challenges that you face now in reporting environments, and these are the things that we will kind of tick off one at a time and we'll talk about how reporting services can answer a lot of these challenges and concerns.